always.
Love now and always. Rachel.
The truth, Helen, is always the right answer.
Somebody always breaks down crying.
Always like that one.
Now I'm always smiling.
Annually.
Welcome to the annual meeting of people who annually meet.
And parliaments to be elected annually.
It is annually awarded by the National Football Foundation to the outstanding college football team of the season.
Annually. Weed. Bush. Skunkamola. White Widow super cheese.
Lyle's company has grown by 8% annually like clockwork.
Bimonthly.
He runs a small bi-monthly paper that covers all of San Juan County.
Medicine ball training, and I play bi-monthly football.
No.
Your bi-monthly visit.
They pay bi-monthly in the millions.
That's not shit. That would be our bi-monthly newsletter.
Constantly.
My name is constantly in the papers. I'm always being praised to the skies.
Constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating.
I don't constantly talk.
And other children have taunted and bullied her constantly.
Heckle you constantly.
Daily.
What men daily do, not knowing what they do.
It's either that, the old boy's place, and we lose a digit daily.
I check the daily report books.
These daily games are costing a fortune, yet we have no new taxes.
What about the daily report books?
Ever.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Honestly, have you ever seen anything like this? No.
Have you ever heard the old saying, a rolling stone gathers no moss?
Yeah. Have you ever been in a racist or violent situation?
And in all that time, have you ever had an assistant?
Frequently.
I've frequently not been on boats.
As a boy, Leonard is frequently bullied by anti-Semites.
Have you considered the killer might be Paul Avery?
Frequently.
Throughout her valiant legal battle, she is frequently in the company of her attorney, Charles Coslow. They have become bored with one another and quarrel frequently.
Generally.
So you got any advice for me? Generally.
When an outsider comes in, we generally kill him as a security measure.
But the trial court ruling is generally upheld in these matters.
That is generally the case, yes, but these are special circumstances.
We generally recommend an institution.
Hourly.
It's an hourly rate.
All right, I'll pay you on an hourly basis, sir.
Not bad for an hourly wage.
What is your hourly rate,
I don't have. No.
So I guess your hourly rate just shot through the roof?
Monthly.
You'd have to pay us monthly premiums.
They count on my monthly contributions.
This first clipping is from the Astrologer's Monthly.
Coach Saban wants his monthly recruiting updates FedExed.
Starting now, you will be given a monthly allowance.
Never.
He never made a sound.
But he never does.
He never said who did it. The sisters never laid a finger on Andy again. And Boggs never walked again. Two things never happened again after that.
Normally.
Paragraph 2.
Talk normally.
Normally, he's a very, nice guy.
Now, normally, I just say, because I say so. And I leave it at that.
Won't normally say boo to a goose.
You can do things you normally cannot do.
Occasionally.
Occasionally, maybe, when you aren't acting like a scoundrel.
Poor Glaucus occasionally needs his memory refreshed as to the contours of the female form.
And occasionally the chance to feel strong.
Occasionally.
She said she was occasionally prescient.
Often.
But does your friend often do that?
As often as I can spare them.
That
directives coming in from Berlin mention special treatment more and more often.
Every so often, Andy would show up with fresh bruises. Seriously, how often do you really look at a man's shoes?
Quarterly.
I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but your father received
reports from Smith Quarterly for years.
Father's trying to figure his quarterly taxes.
To be paid quarterly?
Killing the indigenous looks bad. But there's one thing that shareholders hate more than bad press, and that's a bad quarterly statement.
Pay it quarterly.
Rarely.
Oh, rarely had the words poured from my penny pencil with such feverish fluidity.
Alan, I so rarely have cause to say this, but you are exactly the man I always hoped you would be.
Lady Lyndon tended to a melancholy and maudlin temper, and left alone by her husband, was rarely happy or in good humor.
Usually not this nervous, but, I rarely meet nice, normal guys.
Now, very rarely do you see a better example of what philosophers call the banality of evil.
Regularly.
Because you might like to know that I played golf with him at the West Bromley, regularly.
I understand that she visited you regularly.
But not the opportunity to regularly meet his wife, Margareta, and their son, Gottfried.
If I don't return regularly to my planet and the light within it, this form will wither and perish.
Seldom.
I'm seldom invited to Alana more than once a year.
Caves in the mountain are seldom unoccupied.
The barbarities of war are seldom committed by abnormal men.
Logic offers a serenity humans seldom experience.
Men are seldom as they seem.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it takes me a while to remember where I am.
Sometimes it's hard to know what that is.
Sometimes it makes me sad, though, Andy being gone.
Sometimes after work, I go to the park and feed the birds.
Sometimes people deserve to have their faith rewarded.
Usually.
They're usually much nicer than people.
Anyway, I'm here almost every week. Wednesdays usually.
Usually not this nervous, but, I rarely meet nice, normal guys.
Because usually I have trouble deciding on anything in my life.
Yeah, well, one usually follows the other.
Weekly.
I was just gonna see Hollis for our weekly beer session.
Accumulate what?
Money! What's your weekly turnover?
The jailer is to report to me weekly on his treatment and his progress.
Papa's weekly, serving an entire nation.
Yearly.
They're moving our yearly inspection up 2 quarters.
Granddad gives my mom a yearly allowance, and he's never missed wiring a tuition payment to my schools.
Would this be a yearly arrangement?
But Phyllis's office that handles your yearly allowance has been wiring tuition monies directly to you as well.
Buen trabajo. Haz clic en la imagen para la siguiente clase de inglés. Te veo ahora